Hello everyone, it's October the 12th, 2021, Tuesday, and I'm up here at Stoney Point, and it's funny, I've been coming up here, well, the first time was in 1984, and that's my introduction to this place, but in all the years I've come up here, I never ever once, that I recall, there's a way up just to the west of Mozart's Wall, and it's between sculptures, the canyon and sculptures that you can come up, which I come up all the time, and the area, the boulders just to the east of Mozart's. Anyway, that little canyon, I took it today. I looked at it because I was trying to show some climbers the other day how to get to the top of Mozart's so they could rope up, and I took them over there. But I've never ever gone to Mozart's from up at the top. I'm always used to approaching it from the bottom. So I kind of went down the wrong canyon or two and then finally found it for them. And I went over there today because I wanted to see what the easiest way was to get on top of the wall at Mozart's, and I found it, and it was really interesting because there is a way up there through the canyon just to the east of Sculptures. It's a pretty easy climb. I have just never used it. That just goes to show you, coming out here as long as I have, hundreds and hundreds of times, and I've never ever gone up through there. I go up Sculptures all the time, and I come up about 6 different ways, but I've never been up that one, which is fine. But you know, one day maybe I'll explore out here and just look for things I've never done. So right now, Sticker and I are on our way over to go to the top so I can do some climbing up there, or I may just climb to the top and come back down and do some climbing at Boulder 1 or Turlock. We'll see how I feel when I get up there. This is really a fun little climb for Sticky to go through this area right here because it requires some climbing on his part. He's pretty good at it. So this is one of my main ways of going up. And Sticker must be raised up into there because that's a good 3.5 to 4 feet. So let me gather him up and put him up there, and there he is, ready to go. I got to pick him up from there and set him up on top of that one. So I'm probably not going to climb up here today. I'm just gonna hike down. I really enjoy the climb up here though. It's good for your sense of balance, your footwork, and just engaging your muscles. And your timing, your body position. I think it's good for Sticker too, same thing. I'm sure he has a good time. I was up here yesterday and I had Sticker, and he came down this climb on his own again. So this is really a lot of fun that he likes to do this. Look at him, he's way out in front of me here. He's gonna get it on. That's a thing of beauty. It's a little chilly out here today. I have a fire in my fireplace at home right now. I'm burning up some wood from an old fence that I had at the front of my property that is, well, it's seen its better days, and so I took it down and cutting it up and burning it because it's completely junk, and it's either throw it away or burn it. And I like to have a fire, so that's what I'm doing. That rock right there, right on the other side, there's a couple of climbs I do, one on that corner and one on the face coming straight up. It's a lot of fun. I've made some videos on that. It's on the cool side up here, but it's beautiful and I'm glad I'm here. I came out yesterday, but I only did 5 climbs because I was away from climbing for 12 days, and then I came back 2 days ago and I did 9 climbs, my little circuit up top. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure I could get that done because I hadn't climbed at all in 12 days. And I had a few things keeping me away from climbing, but I was able to do all 9 climbs, and look forward to having some fun climbing today. Fighting with alligators. You know, whenever I come by this area, I always wonder to myself if this little area right here wasn't used by Native Americans. This is about 5 inches deep, and it's a perfect little bowl. And I wondered if they ever ground acorns or some kind of something in there, because that's what it looks like, but who knows for sure. I think the Chumash might have been one of the tribes that was in this area, or maybe they were a little farther north up around Santa Ynez. Well, I know they were up there. But I don't know exactly if they were one of the tribes that inhabited the San Fernando Valley. That reminds me of the book I read once entitled Ishi. I believe that's spelled I-S-H-I. And it was the story of the life of the last wild Indian that ever basically surrendered to authorities in, I believe, I want to say 1912. It could have been 1909. I mean, it wasn't like he surrendered, but he was living a wild life in the foothills of California, and all of his tribe had either passed away or gone on a reservation or whatever, but he was still living a wild life. And I think that included a little bit of robbing eggs from chicken houses and whatever he could do to stay alive, because, you know, California was being encroached, and everywhere you turned there were white settlements and white people, but he was living as basically a wild and free Native American up until he basically came in and surrendered, if you will, to authorities. And he wasn't under arrest, but he kind of had to place himself at the mercy of, you know, the rule of the United States. And that was a wonderful book. There were a couple of books written about him, and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed reading them. I'm sure you could Google that, Ishi, and read about him. He lived, I believe he lived, now my story here, I might not have this exactly right, but I think there was a museum, and the curator of the museum, or one of the people that ran the museum, a doctor of anthropology or something along those lines, kind of took Ishi under his wing, and he was allowed to stay at that museum, or maybe it was a like a satellite campus of a university, or some kind of anthropological center. I forget exactly what, but if you Google it, I'm sure you could read all about it. So this is one of the main ways I go down and up. But usually I go down this way about 9 times as much or 20 times as much as I come up it. I just like going down it. And it's pretty easy for my dog to navigate, because some of these canyons have big drop-offs and there's no way I could go down those with a dog. I've gone down some of them, but they require some climbing, and there's a little bit of danger there and excitement. But with the dog, that makes it an absolute forget it. Watch him go down this. Scurries right down. See, he's gotten pretty good at that. This can be slippery right here too. You got to be careful you don't start sliding. One of the main tenets of climbing downhill is to lean slightly forward. I don't know if you ever thought of that or not, but it's true. When you're going downhill, coming down an embankment, you want to lean slightly forward. This little thing right here, whatever this is, this was sitting up by, just to the east of Mozart's, whatever it is. And well, look at this. It's got some kind of a solar thing on there, so I guess I mean, it's probably not working, but this little artifact has been hanging around here now for a while. Somebody finally stuck it in here just for a little decoration. But it's some kind of a night light. You know, maybe it works. Maybe I could take it home and stick it in my lawn. And you know what? I think I will. It's been sitting out here forever. I mean, I remember seeing it, oh God, 2 months ago. And I'm going to take it home and see if it works. I'll bet it doesn't, but that'd be funny if I set it in my front yard and at night the thing turned on, because there's a solar cell up there and it looks like it collects light from a solar source, and then it probably flickers like a candle in there. And that's kind of cool. So There's the moon. I don't know if you can see it, but it should be right in the middle of the screen. It's a first quarter moon. I'll have to wait and see later when I look at the video if it was visible. Because when I look at the screen on my phone, I can't see it. That's one of the interesting little quirks about filming with an iPhone or any phone. It's sometimes you can't look into the phone itself and see what you see when you look up there with your eye, and that's just a quirk. But anyway, I've always found the history of the American Indians fascinating. For instance, the last wild bunch of Indians to finally be captured and subjugated by American law was Geronimo, and I think it was 1886. Could have been 1885, but he was the last leader of a band of Indians that didn't want to live on the reservation and wanted to live free. I read a book on him, and he could be a very brutal person. I believe there's evidence that he tortured people and absolutely hated the Mexican government and Mexican culture, because his tribe, you know, kind of existed between the border of the United States and Mexico. Anyway, he would constantly have raids on Mexican settlements, and there was very little well, basically the people in those raids were just slaughtered. It was a very different time. But Geronimo, I think he died in 1911 in captivity. And for a while he was, I'm pretty sure he traveled with Buffalo Bill Cody. And anyway, the history of the American Indian and the Battle of the Little Bighorn and the Battle of Rosebud and the Perc Nez and Chief Joseph, it's all very fascinating. There's another wonderful book called The Mayflower. I forget the name of the author, but what a fantastic book. And that basically was about the landing of the Mayflower at Plymouth Rock, and that set up the first permanent English settlement in North America. And the book Mayflower chronicles the history of that landing and the first approximately 65 years of the colonization that would follow. And during that period, more and more areas of Massachusetts were inhabited by white settlements, and the Indians were kind of forced out, and then they kind of rose up in a confederation to try to stop white encroachment, and they fought a war, I think it was called King Philip's War, and but some of my details may be slightly off, but what a fantastic book. Highly recommended. I mean, you can't not like this book. It's called The Mayflower, or just Mayflower. forget the name of the author, but anyway, wonderful book. So it's sunny out here. It's beautiful, a little cool, but quite nice. There's the beautiful moon. And look in the back of my car. That torch I found. It works. What a beautiful little thing.